people? This is your boy FJ3000. I want to welcome you guys back to a brand new episode of Hot Off the Press. And do we got some hot news today, man? I am finally back. I've been away for a minute now, but I'm back, man. And I want to kick this show off because I took a trip this past weekend. Me and my brothers, we took a trip to Lincoln, Nebraska. Shout out to Lincoln, shout out to Omaha. And when I tell you, Lincoln, they know how to kick it. They know how to show out of towners a good time. We had no issues. We went to see Colorado versus Nebraska. I have never been in an environment that I was in this past weekend pertaining to sports. Right at 90 plus thousand people at the game. And when I tell you Nebraska Cornhuskers had that stadium rocking this past weekend, they had it rocking. And they showed us a great time. Even though we was there for Coach Prime, there for Colorado, supporting the movement, supporting what Prime got going on, it was no issues at all. Yeah, you had people talking noise, but it was all love. We had a awesome time in Lincoln. Shout out to the Nebraska Cornhuskers on actually doing a phenomenal job against the Buffaloes. I'm talking about a flawless game, and that's really what I want to get into now because you got so many people talking about how Colorado can't come through. We saw them on last season. We saw so many issues out of the O-line and D-line on last season. And guess what? It's back again this season. D-line can't get a push. The O-line can't block to save their lives. Shedeur is literally running for his life. If I'm not mistaken, I think he got sacked maybe 5 or 6 times in the Nebraska game, and he was hurried like 20 times. Like he had pressure. That is a lot of times for somebody putting their hands on you in one game. Now, if you take that up and you add that, do the math for the entire season, you asking for injuries. But anyway, let's get to it. What is the issue with Colorado? Why is it that they can't get O-linemen to block? And why is it that the defensive line can't get a push to put any pressure on the quarterback? Is it the coaches? Or is it the players just not getting what the coaches are putting out? Because we know a lot of these coaches, they played in the NFL. And I will say this, just because you played the game does not mean you can coach the game. You know a lot about the game, but to me, it's a difference versus coaching and trying to get something through to other people versus you receiving it when you were coming up and you got it. So it's easier to play this game versus coaching this game. So what is the issue with the O-line, with the D-line, or the coaches really doing all they can do? Because this is year 2. I take that back. I don't want to say it's year 2. Year 1 is somewhat of a wash. And you may ask me, why would you say it's a wash, FJ? Deion came in with all this talk about him bringing his Louis bags with him, about they going to do this, they going to do that, they going to make bowl games. First and foremost, that's what Deion do. Everybody got an issue with Deion talking. Deion been talking his entire life. He's not going to stop talking just because he becomes a head coach. A lot of times his talking is directed at his players, trying to motivate his players, get his team together for ball games. He's not disrespecting other coaches. He's not disrespecting other players. He's not disrespecting other universities. By nothing that he said. But we got an issue when Prime talks. I understand what your issue is. People may say, well, if you're going to be a coach, just coach your team. And maybe people won't be so hard on you because you got a 1 in whatever record. or you only won 4 games last season. Maybe people won't be so hard on you if you just chill out and coach. And that's what a lot of people want. People want these coaches to do and these players to do is just shut up and play ball. No. No, people talk, coaches talk. If people in the media can run their mouth, why is it a problem when the coaches do it? But anyway, let's move on. I'm not gonna harp on that. Deion is who he is. Deion gonna talk. Yes, I would love to see the team produce. I would love to see the teams put together a 3, 4, 5 game win streak. I would love to see all of that. But here's the thing. We got to keep in mind that they got rid of the entire team before last season at the drop of a hat when in the middle of recruiting season. So it's kind of hard to get players in. So we kind of give a pass on last season. Not to mention, they played some close games against some seasoned teams on last year as well. They just couldn't pull them off. O-line, D-line was an issue. Now, you have your skill players. You got the skill players. You got Shedeur at quarterback. You got Travis Horner. You got Jimmy Horn. And you got a flock of running backs. So you got your skill players. But I think sometimes, and here's the knock that I may have on Deion. Sometimes we may need to scale back just a little bit on the skill players so that I can go use some more of that NIL money and try to get the top linemen, the top D linemen, the top O linemen to come and help out. A seasoned guy. Now, if we look at it, some of the guys that Deion brung in for this season in the transfer portal to go on that O line, let's look at it. So he had a true freshman, 5-star, #1 tackle in the nation. That's good work. But let's remember, he's a freshman, so a lot of times it takes a little time, especially when you're dealing with a line that's bad. The entire line has issues. So it's going to take a little time for that true freshman. He had a transfer come in for Louisiana Lafayette. He was a 2-star coming out of high school. What? A 2-star coming out of high school, played ball in Louisiana Lafayette. That ain't going to work in the Big 12. Okay, let's keep it pushing. Then he had another transfer come in from UTEP, a 3-star. UTEP, a 3-star. We had another 3-star come in from Indiana. Indiana. Like, these ain't even power teams. These are teams that get no look on Saturdays. They ain't on nobody TV on Saturdays. Let's keep it going. Then we had another guy that was already on the team from last year. He was a 3-star. He played in 3 games last season. Now he's a starter. Nebraska came with it. The fans had that thing rocking, and the defense was ready to play. But how about the skill position players? We need that on the O-line and the D-line. You need to go to Alabama and get some players. You need to go to some of these SEC schools and get some linemen, get some D linemen. I know all of these guys wasn't available. But coach, you got to do what you got to do to get them over there. You should not be repeating the same issues. That's why I asked, is this a player issue or is it a coach issue? I'm not sure. But I also know that when you do a clean sweep of a football team, sometimes that could take 2, 3, even 4 years to get it right. It takes time. Everybody don't just come in and win right away. I don't care how much noise Deion talks. Everybody don't come in and just win right away. Nick Saban didn't come in and win right away. Sometimes it takes time. Now, if you look at the coach that's at Alabama now, he may come in and do really good and go to the playoffs because a lot of those players from Alabama, they are still there. All of them didn't leave when Nick Saban left. Not to mention it's Colorado Buffaloes. Nobody even knew they had a football team before Prime came through. Nobody was checking for Colorado. So it takes time, again, when you do a clean sweep. So my thing is, I'm going to be patient. Hopefully, they finish this season strong. Even though they had a bad game this past weekend, they were all time bad on all levels of the game. When I say every level, they were all time bad. I watched every snap. I was there live and in person, seeing what went down, and it was awful. It was awful. But I do know the one thing that I know about sports is that you get another opportunity next week. So to have a chance to clean this up, to have a chance to right the wrongs, because surely it can't be no worse than it was last weekend. They got Colorado State. We know that is a huge game from what we saw last season. So let's see if these guys can turn it around and get on the right track. I want to know what you guys think. How do you feel about the Colorado Buffaloes? Is it a O-line issue with the players, or is it the coaches? And is it the same thing with the D-line? We see Warren Sapp is over there helping now with the D-line. Is it the players not receiving what the coaches are putting down, or can the coaches that played in the league simply not coach these guys? I want to know what you guys think, and I want to say this, man. Everybody is harping on Deion, and it's only when he lose. It's only when he lose. You talk about the bad, but we never talk about the good. We never talk about him putting $2,100 in each of these black young players' bank accounts to help them raise their newborn children. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about how Coach Prime took players from the bottom, brought them to Colorado and put them on a big stage to coach. Whether they're doing good or not, he put them on a big stage, put more money in their pocket. We talking about people that look like me and you. Coach Prime, he's doing those things. That's why I support him. That's why I would make a 9-hour drive to Nebraska to see them play. That's why I support him. Don't get me wrong, it's other teams that I support. I'm a Razorback fan. I love the Hogs. But I also love the things that Deion is doing, winning or losing. I do want to see him win more than I want to see him lose. I don't like to see him lose because I want him to prove people wrong. Do I think he's going to win a national championship? No. Do I think he is a great coach? No. But I still think he's a great guy for this job. I think he's a great leader of men. And to me, that is more important than anything. But give me you guys' thoughts. Tell me how you feel. Do you want Deion gone after this season? Do you feel like he need to go back to a lower school? Do you feel like he needs to be on a bigger scale than Colorado? What is it going to take to beef up this O-line? To me, he needs some 4 stars on this O-line and D-line. And I know he regrouped the line. He went out and did what he could do with the line. He brung in fresh meat. But the fresh meat ain't working right now. So, let's see how it goes this coming up weekend against Colorado State. Drop your comments. Let's talk about it. Let's debate about it. And again, this is your boy FJ3000. And I appreciate you guys for pulling up. Peace.